Hello there, welcome to Genesis Models. My name is Bobby Waldron, and in this video we're going to be having a nice in-box review of Tamiya's 1/48 scale Lancaster bomber Mark 1 or 3. Now this kit is mega old. It is like 40 years old. It was first released, first new tooled in 1975. So as age killed this off, or is it still good? So let's have a look inside before we actually open up any of the bags and all this kind of stuff. So first off, what we'll notice now remember, this isn't an old kit. I mean, this kit was released in 2012, but the actual moulding, as I say, was 1975. So looking inside, we have our first sprue, two sprues, which is the wing section. They are absolutely massive, and they're nicely sort of separately bagged. We do have a lot of canopy stuff going on here. We do have a bag with the clear canopy in there, and then we also have another bag which has painted canopies. We'll have a closer look at them later. Instructions, what looks like to be a nice big decal sheet. We have another sprue here, which is we have a separately grey sprue plastic here, which has got bits and bobs. We've got some crew as well in there, but you know, keeping the plastic nice and minimal to each bag. We also have another bit of clear plastic as well, just in there for some of the gun mounts. We have a load of weapons in here, again nicely separately bagged. The bags do feel like good quality. What we also have is a nice long separately bagged here of the fuselage section, which has been taped together, you know, and keeping it actually nice, clean and tidy. We then have one bag here which just has looks like about 3 sprues in here with, you know, landing gear and the tail section and everything, rather nicely packaged there. And then we have, you know, some more bits going on here, because as this kit was released over the years, as I say, it's been 1975, along the way it got new parts, and I do believe new parts were things like propellers and like the engine section as well, just to kind of spruce up the kit as it goes along. And what I'm also going to show you in this in-box review is, just check there's nothing in there, I did also buy some photo etch for this, so we'll have a nice little look at the photo etch as well, because it is a rather nice little extra you can buy. So I'm going to unbox all this, have a good look, do a bit of research, and we'll have a closer look. Let's start off with the instructions. Nice instructions here by Tamiya, and it is in the booklet form rather than everything folds out, which is rather nice. You got 4 different markings to choose from, and I do believe you've got like the Mark 1 or the Mark 3 to choose from as well, so you know, look out for that in the instructions. Typical instructions, you know, we start off with the whole cockpit section just up here. A lot of details going to be going on in here as well. You're also going to have like the bomb bays as well, which is going to be loads more detail there. We've got all these gun turrets as well to deal with this one as well, and then we'll bring 2 fuselage halves together. So I mean, this kit is going to be a lot of sort of internal detail going on before you bring the 2 fuselage halves together. We've got nice detail with our landing gear and our 2 wings. Looks quite simple and quite easy. Now with this kit, I know a lot of people, what they will do is they will leave the actual wing and the fuselage sections separate. They'll even spray, decal and even weather with the wings not attached, because apparently the wings slot into the fuselage section really easy and very nice fit apparently. You know, so that's something you might want to consider, sort of like maybe test fitting and see if you're happy with that. As you can see, you know, it sort of just clips in, which is a rather nice little feature for this kit. The Bombe section, as you can see, we can have this open, closed, and we've got a whole bunch of bombs. I skimmed past a bit of research, and apparently Tamiya and Edard have got the bombs wrong. Apparently they're in rows of 3, not 4, but you might want to kind of, you know, confirm that yourself. Then we have the whole engine section. There's lots of different sort of ways of doing the engine depending on what version you do, as well as, you know, you have the option of going off and taking the actual engine covers off, so you can show off the engine, or you can just leave it nice and plain and have all the engine covers on. So, you know, nice little option feature going on there, which is rather good. And then we have these 3 I do believe it's we've got about 3 different markings, which is the 2-stage camo and, you know, the black underside, and then we also have one that has got this sort of natural metal finish on the top side. So, you know, a nice bit of variety of decals and markings to sort of go through there, which then does bring along to the actual decals, nicely bagged up, as you can see. And these are typical Tamiya decals, right? You know, so you're going to probably be using the Mr. Mark and the Mr. Mark setter and softener. Now, as you can see, you know, they are looking sort of a nice sort of satin finish, nice and colourful. We can read the writing, and they're nicely in registry. Plus, you do also have the option of, you know, the dials, if you so wish. You know, it's just really nice, I think, to have that option. And then we have some nice bit of exotic decals going on here if you want to use them, which is rather nice because you've also got the white background for these decals as well, which is it is something that you kind of really sort of need, because I know with these 2-stage camos you can sort of put a decal on and it sort of lightens and darkens it, and you sort of end up seeing the shape of the camo pattern going through the decal. So, you know, it's really good when they put those bits in there. So the decal's looking very, very nice. Then moving along, we have our first set of sprues, and I'm just going to need to see how far I can zoom this out, right? Because as you see, this is the wing section, and basically it's going to be something like this, massive, right? I do believe that translates to about 600 and something centimeters, 605, you know, which is this long. As you can see, I'm just like not even getting this on camera. It is just absolutely massive, the wingspan on this. So, you know, this is a model that is gonna be absolutely impressive, but you better have the space for it. So let's have a quick zoom in on this now. Right, the detail on this, now the detail on this is raised panel lines, right, which for all of you out there might be thinking, no way, raised panel lines. You know, it is actually accurate. I mean, a lot of people think all aircrafts are like nice and smooth and all this kind of thing. Even I was kind of like, when I first saw this, raised panel lines and raised rivets, but actually this kit, well, the actual aircraft, the way they did the panels, apparently they were overlapped panels, right? I mean, it does look very sort of ripply and very sort of like someone's come along with a hammer and just literally sort of panel beated the panels into shape, and they do look very, as I say, ripply and denty, and you know, all the panels, as I say, are like overlapped, but you do have the recesses where they're due in the flaps. And if we go even closer, I mean, the rivet detail that we've got going on here, if we can just rotate it in the light just right, is very, very fine. I mean, if we feel the actual rivet detail, you can just barely feel it, so it really does put it into a nice scale. It's not over the top, you know, you can just barely feel it, and it really, you know, I think once you've got some paint on there, it's really gonna, you know, make that look very, very cool indeed. And then we have, this is I do believe the top section of the wing section. Again, you know, we've got all this lovely raised detail, which I never thought I would say, lovely raised detail, but yeah. And what we've got to also remember with this kit, it is 40 years old. This kit was released in 1975, so it is mega old, but you know, I think it's got lucky in the sense that, you know, I mean, it looks top quality for these days, but back then in 1970 and all that, it was all sort of like raised panel detail, and I think they've got lucky because the actual aircraft, as I say, has got all this sort of overlapping panel detail, which sort of gets away with the raised panel lines. So just moving along now, you do get a nice bit of crew, which the crew, they do look, shall we say, okay, average, because you know, we have got detail going on with the crew, but it's not, shall we say, as sharp as it can be. And we've got like 5 crew members here, so you know, we can have this sort of looking nice and filled up inside in the interior detail. So you know, nice little extra there. Then we have, you know, our first sprue here, which has just got lots of little bits and bobs, you know, a bit of landing gear, a bit of internal detail and everything. And the first thing that sort of really sort of catches me with this kit is 40 years old, but where's the flash? There literally is very minimal flash on this kit, which for 40 years is rather amazing. The ejector pin marks as well, we turn this over and the ejector pin marks are actually nicely placed. And moving along, now I did just say the ejector pin marks are nicely placed, but there is one place where they are terribly placed. Again, you know, we've got our nice sort of raised detail here, very sort of fine. We've got all sorts of bombs, big bombs, you know, no flash. Ejector pin marks look good, but then there's this one place here where they are just not good at all. You know, if you're going to have your Bombeys open, you're going to have to deal with these ejector pin marks, right? We do have like little rivet detail going on inside here, if you can maybe just pick that up on camera. But these ejector pin marks, because it's on this sort of like pointy bit, this shaped bit, right, we've got this kind of a bit of a sanding problem where we've got to sand out to that angle, which just makes it a lot harder. And they are, you know, probably like 1/2 mil high, which does make it something that is going to be a bit of an eyesore if you have your Bombay doors open. So that is not good, but I think that is the worst I've seen regards to the whole ejector pin mark kind of scene. The rest of the ejector pin marks in this kit actually, you know, look quite modern in a sense. Then we also have our fuselage section, which was nicely separately bagged. Again, we've got this lovely detail going on. Let's just bring you in just so you can see. Yeah, nice, lovely raised panel lines and those nice raised rivets. And just bringing you along just so you can see all the detail going on. And then if we just remove these bits of tape that they've done to keep this together, we can open this up, and as you can see, you know, we do have some nice internal detail as well going on just inside. Right, we do have ejector pin marks, but when it comes to ejector pin marks and cockpit detail, you know, it really all does depend upon what exactly you're gonna see. So it's potentially cut up all your little pieces, you know, not stick them in, but dry fit them and just see what you are actually going to see in there, and then tackle whatever ejector pin marks you need to tackle. You know, so that is really nice. And actually, I mean, it does, you can sort of look, you know, while this is sort of taped together, you can actually see that it looks like we're going to have quite a nice fit. Right, so it just kind of shows you sort of what kind of a fit we're going to potentially be having here. It does look a good fit. Moving along, we have some nice kind of, we have the landing gear section, we have some our propellers here, and our engine cowls as well. So, you know, we've got some nice pieces. We also got our engine section here as well, where we can you know, make our engines. They're not looking very detailed, to be honest with you. It is probably one of these things where I do believe you can buy aftermarket parts, you can jazz them up yourself, but you can just put the engine cowls on and, you know, have it all covered up anyway. Moving along with it, it's rather nice actually, because we've got our wheel well doors just here. Normally you get ejector pin marks on the inside, which we don't have in there, which is rather nice, and I am feeling that nice fine raised rivet work going on inside there as well. There is maybe a slightest bit of flash going on with our propellers, but really for a 40-year-old kit that is really good, to be honest. Our wheels, we've got some nice big treads in our wheels, which is like two halves coming together, and we have a duplicate sprue for them. Next one, we have our fins. We've got some nice fins here, same nice level of detail as has been seen along the wing section and the fuselage section. Turn it over, looks rather nice, no problems with ejector pin marks there. More detail, looking really nice for a 40-year-old kit. In fact, you know, when I first opened this, I didn't actually realise that it was a 40-year-old kit. It didn't even look like a 40-year-old kit. You know, that's how kind of good this kit must have been back then. We then have, and now I do believe this is new parts that they've added to it. We have our engine cowls here, which have you know, recessed panel lines as well as raised rivets going on with these as well. Right, because you know, as I say, the panels were sort of like overlapped with the real aircraft, but that didn't mean there wasn't any recessed areas either. We've got a little exhaust towels here, you know, some more propellers, so you've probably got, you know, several different options, as well as different options for different type of tread, wheel treads. So you know, we've got the options there. Then moving along, we have our clear parts. Now, there's loads and loads of clear parts with this, as well as we get this whole pre-painted canopies. So, you know, are these pre-painted canopies really sort of any good, to be honest? Because I mean, you know, we don't normally see that kind of stuff in modelling. Well, I've taken one out just to show you, and to be totally not honest with you, I wouldn't go for the pre-painted canopies for a few reasons. First off is you've got to try and match up the colour paint that was used for this canopy. You know, you might decide you like using Tamiya paints, Vallejo paints, you know, and this green could be a slight off colour from, you know, whatever you're going to paint the rest of the model. That's one. Second is they've only painted these one colour, right? The Lancaster, as you know, is a two-stage camo pattern with green and brown, and this here would need to be masked up anyway, because according to the instructions, right, we'd have to mask up this bit here, because this front bit is supposed to be the brown side of the two-stage camo, so you're going to end up having to mask it up anyway. You know, so I don't think it's quite, you know, any point. I mean, maybe for a bit more of a beginner modeler, you know, it probably might be easier to use these, but as you know, you grow and get better at modeling, you know, you probably would just want to go along and stick with the clear parts that come with it, which is rather nice that they do give you the two options, so you can choose personally what you would want to do. And as you can see, they are looking very nice and crystal clear, right? which is rather nice. Tamiya normally does do nice canopies, to be honest, and you know, the details looking very nice. There's lots going on here. I have noticed in a place that we do have that kind of cobweb effect, as you can just see just here. If I put my finger there, rotate it in the camera, you can just see those little bits of cobweb effects, and that is basically down to the clear plastic gets injected, as you can see, from this point and this point, and what happens is when they meet, right, they meet at two different temperatures and it makes that kind of cobweb effect. We do have it on our big main canopy, as you can just see just there, and you know what, it is exactly the same as what's on this one as well. You can just see it just there, so it's not like a one-off. It probably most likely is going to be every single one's just like that, but you can just get away with that, I suppose. A bit of a polish up does help a bit, but it's still going to be always there. So that is the entire kit, and I did go off and I did give it a score of a nice 8.4. An 8.4 puts it here at Genesis Models as a above average kit, right? So you're getting, you know, something that you're going to probably be able to build very nicely, nice detail, shouldn't have any real problems, and you should have a very nice above average kit at the end of it, which I personally think is quite outstanding for a kit that is 40 years old. You know, absolutely amazing that it stood the test of time and still looks like a nice modern kit. Now the price of this kit is £85, well, £84.99 from Hanan Saz's January 2015. The price is probably going to vary depending where you go and whatnot. You know, and the price, actually I think the price is okay. You know, this is a massive kit. It's going to be you know, one of your centerpieces. It's huge, right? And you get a lot of plastic in there for your money. So yeah, I think it's an okay price, which, you know, Tamiya does kind of ask a lot of money these days here in the UK. So, you know, that's quite nice, I think. Then moving along, just to kind of show you a little bit more, I did get some aftermarket parts for this kit, and I just thought I'd show you a little bit of aftermarket parts you can get if you so wish, because this is a nice set. I forgot how much it was. I did get it from Hanans, but you did get a lot of photo etch with it. Right, as you can see, we've got about 5 frets. Yeah, 5 nice frets going on here. So just having a quick look through the instructions, which to be honest with you, I haven't had a proper look at this. But what we're basically going to be able to jazz up and make better, we've got our seats here, we're going to be able to jazz them up, and all sorts of what would be cockpit detail as well. As you can see, instrument display panels, because actually I think there is no detail with the instrument display panels, so actually this photo etch is going to be rather good. And then we've got all our different levers, which actually do look quite good in photo etch as well. A bit of like gun turret detail. And moving along, we have a load of nice sort of panels to go on the inside, which is really sort of going to jazz that up. How much you're going to see of the inside, I don't know, so maybe, you know, don't kind of do all the little tiny bits, but maybe like the big pieces of photo etch. It's easier, it's quicker, because I don't think you're going to see that well inside, especially if you put any crew in there as well. And as you can see, you know, there's loads more turret detail, so it's a nice load of internal detail going on there. So let's have a little quick look. Now the camera doesn't normally like shiny photo etch, but we'll try and deal with it. As you can see, we've got some nice pre-painted photo etch there, loads of dials and everything. We've even got a nice little plaque, Lancaster, which is also a nice touch if you make your own base. We've got some more pre-painted coloured photo etch as well. As you can see, more dials and buttons and knobs on there. Moving along, we've got bits of turret detail and all sorts of detail that you'll probably find out as you go through the instructions. As you can see, nice lovely Edard detail that they always do. And you get 5 nice frets in there, another one just here, and that's like the seats going on. Yeah. And then the last one, which also looks like a nice bit more internal detail, again looking really nice, as you can see there. I forgot how much this one was, maybe £10–20 tops. Sorry, I forgot to look up what the price was. So final conclusion for this kit is, I mean, I'm amazed how this is 40 years old and it's really stood the test of time, and is apparently the best Lancaster you can get in this scale. I really wouldn't mind building it, and here I am. I'm kind of like starting the next video build here, and I was going to build I won't tell you quite at the moment, but I was going to build something else, but as I've gone through this, it just makes you want to build it, and it would be a nice big centerpiece, but at the moment I've not got room for something of this size, with the HMS Victory already taking up all the space. So I'll probably, this is something I want to do in the future at least anyway. So I hope you've enjoyed that, and I hope I've give you some good insight into whether or not you want to buy this 1/48 scale Lancaster. So until next time, my name's Bobby Waldron, this is Genesis Models, and I hope you've enjoyed.